Hello and welcome in this video of Nkrumah, the struggles and contributions. We are going to discuss about the struggles and contributions of Nkrumah. This is the video for class 12 history students of ISC board class 12. So if we try to discuss about this chapter, basically two questions appear in the board examinations. Discuss the initial achievements of Kwame Nkrumah in the field of internal and external affairs of Ghana. This is the first question. Second one, explain the reasons for Nkrumah's downfall and eventual overthrow from power in 1966. So we are going to discuss about these two questions in a very detailed manner. This video can also be divided into 2 or 3 videos. So you are requested to watch all the videos to have a detailed understanding about this topic. So let's begin our discussion about the achievements of Kwame Nkrumah. Hello and welcome in this video of the struggles and contributions of Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah was a great nationalist and he believed in Pan-Africanism. He believed that all the people of Africa should be united together. He knew that all around the globe there is much exploitation and oppression of the black Africans. So he believed in the unity of all the people of Africa against the exploitation and oppression of the black Africans. Now he was born in the Gold Coast. Now the Gold Coast is called the present day Ghana. Ghana was under the control of the British Empire. It was a British colony. And Ghana was the first country to gain independence from the British control. So the independence of Ghana is not only important for the people of Ghana but also for the whole African continent. Ghana is endowed with rich natural resources, as well as its independence was the beginning of the era of decolonization of all the countries of Africa. Now, if we talk about the life of Nkrumah, he is the first Prime Minister and the President of Ghana. Immediately after the independence of Ghana in 1957, he was elected popularly as the President of Ghana. He contributed his whole life for the independence of Ghana because Ghana was under the control and occupation, under the control and guidance of the Great Britain. It was a British colony, and he saw the exploitation of the black Africans in the Ghana. But he was born in the Gold Coast in 1909 in a poor family. But because of its great determination and efforts, he was able to get a higher education. He is mainly famous for his ideas of Pan-Africanism. The Pan-Africanism says it is an idea that all the people of Africa should be united together, forgetting their national boundaries and their own different identities. All the countries of Africa should be united together against their own exploitation. If they are not aware about their exploitation will continue and discrimination will continue. He was a revolutionary politician. He led the Ghana's independence, and it was because of the contribution of Nkrumah that Ghana got independence from the British Empire in 1957. I am not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. This was a famous statement said by Nkrumah. So you can assess by yourself that nationalist ideas were existing in Nkrumah. He was a great nationalist. Now Nkrumah was one of the founding fathers of Organization of African Unity. The Organization of African Unity was a regional organization whose aim was to bring about coordination and cooperation between different countries of Africa. He was a winner of Lenin Peace Prize from Soviet Union in 1962. He believed in the ideas of Karl Marx and the ideas of socialism. But at the same time, he was also thinking about how to get rid from the exploitation and discrimination towards the black Africans. He devoted his whole life for this. So let's understand about the idea of the Pan-Africanism. The idea of Pan-Africanism says that all the people of Africa should be united together and there should be cooperation among all independent countries and freedom of all African countries. Immediately after its freedom, Ghana started shouting for the independence of the rest of the countries of Africa. It believes, the Pan-Africanism believes that all the people should be united in Africa itself and for the united continent of Africa. So I hope that the idea of Pan-Africanism is clear for everyone. So the idea of Pan-Africanism was a dream of Kwame Nkrumah. Now this is the symbol of Pan-Africanism. All the people of Africa, of whichever country they reside, they should be united among themselves. There should be coordination and cooperation among all the African people of whichever country they reside. They can reside in America or Britain or whichever country they reside. They should feel proud and they should be united together. So this is the symbol of Pan-Africanism, which says that all the African people should be united together to save themselves from discrimination and prejudice. Now, if we talk about the life of Nkrumah, I have already said that Nkrumah was born in the Gold Coast. So Gold Coast is the previous name of Ghana when it was under the British control, when it was a British colony. He was born in 1909 in a poor and illiterate family. Because of his efforts and great determination, he was able to go to United States for the higher education. Nkrumah spent 10 years at the Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. In America, he came to know about the exploitation of the blacks. During his studies in the America, he was also influenced by the socialist ideas of Karl Marx. So the theory of class and class struggle, the theory of capitalism and the communism had a profound impact on the thinking of Nkrumah. He was also influenced by Marcus Garvey, because the idea of Pan-Africanism was actually coined by Marcus Garvey. So he was also influenced by the works of the Jamaican nationalist Marcus Garvey, and he started working. Nkrumah started working over the ideas of Pan-Africanism after getting influenced from Karl Marx and Marcus Garvey. Now these are the two pictures of Karl Marx and Marcus Garvey. In the first of the picture, democracy is the road to socialism, and another one, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin and culture is like a tree without roots. So this is the basic idea of Marcus Garvey. I hope it is clear for everyone. So let's move ahead. Now Nkrumah returned home at 1947 and he began his political career as an advocate of the national independence for Ghana. Now he joined United Gold Coast Convention. It was a political party formed by J.V. Bankwa. So J.V. Bankwa was another freedom fighter for independence of Ghana from the British Empire. United Gold Coast Convention was a political party whose aim was to fight for the independence of Ghana from the British Empire. So immediately after his arrival in Ghana, Nkrumah joined this political party, but because of his some differences with this political party, he joined and he formed another political party in 1949. That political party is known as Convention People's Party. Convention People's Party. In short form, it is also called CPP, and he continued his struggle for the independence of Ghana. So it was a new political party, and Nkrumah was the leader of this political party. It was a mass-based political party whose aim was only the independence of Ghana. Independence of Ghana. He believed in the self-government, but in 1950, Nkrumah initiated a campaign for positive action involving a non-violent protest, but initially this protest was confined up to the strikes and non-cooperation movement, but soon in some places it took a violent turn because of the oppression of the British Empire. The ideas of non-cooperation, Nkrumah was also influenced by the ideas of Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi of India. So taking the inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi, he experimented with his ideas of non-cooperation in Ghana. But because of the exploitation of the British Empire, oppression of the British Empire, the movement took a violent turn. And it was because of the violence, Nkrumah was arrested and he had to remain in jail for 3 years. The ideas of Pan-Africanism had a profound impact on all over the world, and especially in Africa. Even the black people were subjected to the exploitation and prejudice even since the 16th and the 17th century. During the time of 16th and the 17th century, and also during the 18th century, the black people were most subjected to the slave, to the human trafficking. The black people were subjected to the human trafficking and they were employed as the slave. But slavery was abolished in America because of the contribution of Abraham Lincoln. But even after the abolition of slavery in America, the prejudice and exploitation of the black people continued, and even in the present time also, during the regime of Donald Trump, the oppression and exploitation of the black people is still continued. But it was only because the black people are still not united and they are not aware about their unity and about their own liberties and the rights. But the idea of Pan-Africanism is still significant in the present time, in the present era. Now, if we talk about the first general election, if we return back to our discussion, in the first general election of 1951 in Ghana, Nkrumah was in jail. But although he was confined in the jail, his ideas of Pan-Africanism and independence of Ghana had a profound impact. The party, the Convention People's Party, was fighting the election without the guidance of Nkrumah, but still it was a very popular party in Africa. So in the first general election of 1951, the CPP party won the election, and in the first general election, Nkrumah was elected as the first and most important leader in Ghana. On February 8, 1951, the CPP won the election because the pictures of Nkrumah was everywhere, and whatever the speeches and the thinking of Nkrumah was there, it had a profound impact on the life of the people of Africa. After winning the election, Nkrumah was released from the prison and he became the Prime Minister of the Gold Coast in 1952. But still, Ghana was not independent. It was under the control of Great Britain. So Convention People's Party, it is a symbol of the Convention People's Party. The freedom, the basic symbol was the freedom, forward ever, backward never. So in the first general election of 1951, the Convention People's Party won 34 seats out of 38 seats in the Legislative Assembly of Ghana, and he became the largest political party in Ghana. And Nkrumah, the leadership of Nkrumah was popular in Ghana, and he became the first prime minister. Subsequently, in 1957, the former British colony of Gold Coast became an independent state of Ghana. So the name was changed from the Gold Coast to Ghana. In 1960, Ghana became a republican form of government with Nkrumah as its president. So in the 1960s, Ghana became a unitary form of government with the presidential form of the government, where the president is also the head of the state and the head of the government. Now, in the very short manner, so far we have discussed about the struggles of Nkrumah and how did he came to power. Now, if we talk about, in summary, if we try to discuss the contribution of Nkrumah, in the first place, he led the protest against the British rule in Africa. He was a person who took the leadership of making Ghana an independent country. So his leadership role is highly appreciated. Even before President Nkrumah, J.B. Dangua and others also followed the political party UGGC to fight for independence, but it appears that they were not capable to lead, and that is why they invited Nkrumah from USA to become a Secretary General of the political party. But as it was a different political party, he was unable to do his all functions. His ideology was different, and the ideology of the political party was also different, and that is why Nkrumah decided to form its own political party, which was called the Convention People's Party. In the Convention People's Party, the Pan-Africanism, the idea of Pan-Africanism was at the topmost, and he started functioning in their own way. Nkrumah started functioning in their own way. So the British convened a selected commission of the middle class Africans to draft a new constitution that would give Ghana a self-government. Now it is also said that after the Second World War, Great Britain was extremely weak and he was not capable to control all the colony, and that is why gradually the Great Britain decided to free all the colonies. And it was also the result, it can also be the result of the decolonization of Ghana, but at the same time the struggle for independence of Nkrumah is immense. It was Nkrumah who gave a leading role in the independence of Nkrumah, in the independence of Ghana. So under the new constitution, only those with the money and property would be allowed to vote. It was another drawback of the working of Nkrumah. So another one is the overcome opposition within the Ghana. Dr. Nkrumah used his political party, the Convention People's Party parliamentary majority, to ban all the opposition and declared Ghana as one-party state. All forms of criticism, including the constructive ones, were also utterly suppressed. It was also opposed. Now the opposition party started doing a propaganda. The rich people, the money lenders, also did a propaganda against the working of Nkrumah, and voters of British Empire also did a huge propaganda against Nkrumah, and their initiative was to put the government of Nkrumah down. There are two controversial acts which was passed by Nkrumah in order to crush his opposition. These are the Preventive Detention Act and Avoidance of Discrimination Act. So these are the two acts which was passed by Nkrumah government in order to crush his opposition. His opposition were planning to put Nkrumah down and to desist Nkrumah from power. So the Prevention of the Detention Act, it allowed the imprisonment up to 5 years without any charge or trial on the mere suspicion. Nkrumah had the power to release those prisoners early. So Prevention Detention Act, it was a very controversial act. It was passed by Nkrumah government in order to crush his opposition. On the mere suspicion, anybody can be arrested without any charge or trial. So it was also this act of Nkrumah was also criticized. But another one is the Avoidance of Discrimination Act, which banned the regional and tribal-based political parties to oppose their grievances. So these are the two main acts. It was a controversial act and it was passed by Nkrumah government to crush his opposition. Now Nkrumism, it was another ideology which was very popularized, and it made Nkrumah a one-party socialist state. Now what is Nkrumism? Nkrumism is the idea which tells that there should be unity among all the countries of the Africa. Now Africa should be united and they should be guided by socialist principles. So the socialist principle is the basic idea of Nkrumism. So the Nkrumism is based on the socialist ideas, and it tells that all the people of Africa should be united together. I hope that the idea of Nkrumism is clear for everyone. But in February 1966, Nkrumah was desisted from power because of the coup d'etat. When Nkrumah was on the foreign tour to North Korea, government was overthrown by coup d'etat led by a national military and the police forces. Later it came to know that the main leader of the coup d'etat was Joseph Ankara was the leader behind this coup d'etat. It is also said that Joseph Ankara was assisted by the American and the British forces. So because of the coup d'etat led by Joseph Ankara, that Nkrumah regime was ended. Now what is the meaning of coup d'etat? Coup d'etat means a military dictatorship. It means whenever a government is suspended by military dictatorship, it is called the coup d'etat. Now it was because of the military dictatorship, the regime of Nkrumah was suspended and Joseph Ankara became the second president of Ghana. This is the picture of Joseph Ankara. So he was a pioneer. He played a leadership in the coup d'etat to desist Nkrumah from his power. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and you have learned a lot. So thank you.